It's train time, starting now, right after this small intro.
In compliance with COPA, this video is not for children under the age of 14. Viewer discretion is advised. Sponsored by Canadian Model Railroad.ca and by donations from patrons like you. Further support provided by miniprint.ca. Make your layout come alive with the 3D creation of miniprint.ca. And now on with the show with your hosts, Peter and Joe.
Well, Joe, what time is it?
I think it's train time.
It's train time, and it is episode
21.
21. September.
Yeah.
2021.
That's pretty good. We got some announcements for you folks.
Yes.
But first, I think, Peter, we got to talk about the comment we received.
Yes, we have to reply to a comment that we received from, his call sign is Doo1Ops. He sent us a very nice comment about you hosers in the Great White North, eh?
Hey. Yeah.
So thank you for your comment. I think you have us confused with the Mackenzie brothers, though.
Hey. Yeah, sure.
But we're not sure where you're from, but if you're ever in our neck of the woods, make sure you stop by for a beer, eh?
Oh, yeah, eh? We'll like that.
We'll have a cold Canadian, eh?
Hey. Well, a little bit of humor in there is great. Yes. We enjoyed that little comment.
And we do read all the comments, so keep them coming in.
Yep. Now we have some announcement to make. Excuse me. The first one is for the Portage Model Railway Clubs, which is now a club that the CMR do belong to.
Yes.
And we have on the 2021 Running of the Trains Day, which will take place on Saturday, October the 2nd, 2021, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. At our home base, the Canadian Pacific Stations, which is located at 251 3rd Street North in Portage, La Prairie, Manitoba.
Yep.
The admission is only $5,
yep.
And kids under 12s, it's free. Though, please take note that museum, gallery, and clubs like this are open at 50% maximum capacity.
COVID restrictions.
Due to the COVID restriction, you got to be fully immunized, meaning the 2 vaccine, which the second dose must have been at least 2 weeks
prior.
Unvaccinated children would be allowed in as long as they are accompanied with a fully immunized member of their household, right. And they can prove their immunizations.
Yep.
And you must wear a mask during the time that you are into the premises.
Right.
On the outside, no, but on the inside, yes.
Yes. And again, it's only 50% capacity.
Oh yeah. Unless the restriction change. Yeah. Because they change quite often lately.
Yep.
That's just the way it is.
So don't be surprised if you might have a little wait to get into the building and see the display.
It's worth it.
But bear with them and.
Portage La Prairie, the Portage Model Railway Clubs got beautiful premises.
Mm.
They got many layout. They got also some interactive layouts. Feel free to talk with the members because they're very sociable.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever at that point intend to get into model railroading or participate in the club, membership is open. You can talk to the members in there. They will direct you to the right person in regard to membership. Every little bit help, and we certainly like to keep seeing clubs thrive.
Yes.
Even after that big session of COVID, So.
And CMR is now.
Yes, CMR.
We are now members.
Yeah, the crew of CMR is part of the clubs, and our job is to do the PR. So,
and we're hoping to get back there to do some videos. So hopefully during this show we can get some done.
The video definitely will have some, because it's a lot of video that are planned to be done, so that we can have it into our show. Because in Manitoba, we're starting to think that we might end up in a fourth wave.
Yes.
So if there's any other lockdown, we want to have enough material to keep bringing to you a show every month.
Yes.
The next announcement
is the MEGATRAIN show.
The MEGATRAIN show that wasn't there last year.
Yes, and that's September 25th and 26th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and that is held at their site at the Red River X Park, right behind the Assiniboia Downs. And that is 40,000 square feet of display space, and there will be 60 vendors there apparently. We don't have an admission fee.
I haven't been able to find what is the admission fees, but usually it's somewhere around $5 or $7, something like that.
And again, the masks and vaccination protocols are in place. So
yes, you have to prove that you have been totally vaccinated. It's just the same with the Portage running days.
And I guess they'll be watching 50% capacity as well.
Absolutely.
Yep. So
is some safe distancing in between the vendor and so on. So they don't have. Usually at MEGATRAIN show you got more vendor than that, and you got more activities. But this time you have to follow the COVID restriction. Now, our crew for its train time will be on location. We'll be doing some filming in there, and more than likely we'll have episode 21B done just for that, for the MEGATRAIN show. So I encourage people who are in Manitoba or anywhere else to come to that show. It's always been a great show. Yep. We have been participating in there, having table there before, when we were with the Selkirk Model Railroad.
That's right, yeah.
And we had some other table that were there. There's quite a few people in there that we will be interviewing. They always have a lot of layouts, that participate. The Portage Model Railway clubs will have their mobile module layout there, and some of the members would be there too. And at the same time, they will be promoting the show that they have in October the 2nd.
Right.
So that's is pretty much so everything about the announcement, other than the fact that you probably find something different here.
Yes.
We had the set now totally redone.
Yes.
Not totally finished. The fact is we have a discussion in regard of, do we leave it the way it is?
Yes. Do we leave it in natural wood colors, or do we decide to stain it?
Yeah, that is a point of contention right now, because our set manager does mix pretty well with the natural wood. My wife think that we should leave it the way it is, and maybe just stain the cabinet behind us in here. As you probably notice, we got the CN and the CP locomotives like we have on all our headers everywhere.
Yep.
And on the top, well, we got a 460 locomotive on the G scale.
Yep.
And we also have some N scale.
Yes.
A CN and a can-do in there.
Yep.
If you can see them, and then you see our mugs and so on. So those shelves will be always used with different models and that type of thing. It's a train show.
Yes, we'll try and change it out from time to time.
Yeah, but it's replaced the big white north scene that we had.
Great North.
You know, so anyway, we did like to have comments from you about what should we do. Should we stain it? Should it be stained? What can be changed in there? What idea do you have about that set?
Yeah.
Do you like that set better than the other one? So let's see what happened. Peter, I think this month will be featuring a locomotive builders from Alberta.
Yes.
And you interview our correspondent from Alberta, your brother.
My brother Ivan, yes.
And we'll be talking about Ernie.
Ernie, yes, and his machine shop, his whole shop is he builds locomotives for the 1.5 to foot scale, which runs on a 7.5 inch gauge track. But he's done some just fantastic work. So
and detail.
Yes, very detailed, and he's very. I'm not too sure how you describe it, but he's very, very finicky about how the end user treats his equipment that he makes.
He liked to see his equipment that he built being maintained properly.
Yes.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because those machines cost a fortune.
Yeah.
But when you look at the details that he has in there, and you take one of the modern diesel, for instance, that he made, and you compare it to the real one, the class one, if you just took pictures of each one of them, you will not know which one is which one.
Yeah.
That is to tell you how minutious and detailed this guy is with his work.
Yes.
So I hope you enjoyed the interview, and let's go see Ernie.
We are here with my brother Ivan Hall from St. Albert, and we're going to spend a little time talking about an associate of his, Ernie Bescowini, if I get that right, who has a shop and trackage in the same scale that you're in, the 7.5 inch gauge, and so we have some pictures of his shop and stuff, but I'll just kind of turn it over to you to give us a little background of Ernie and his escapades.
Yes, Ernie is one of a kind, self-made machinist, trained machinist, designer, jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Got in an interest in our hobby, and decided that he would start building a steam engine himself. And he started with a CPR heavy consolidation 2/8 282.
282. Okay.
And it was an effort in absolute detailed machining, accurate in all details, right from the CPR erection drawings.
Okay.
That impressed the hell out of all of us.
Right.
And his skills have expanded to the point where his next project was building 7.5 inch or 1.5 inch scale copy of CNR Mountain 6060.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
40.
Yeah. 60.
And just did a beautiful job
Right.
on the design. Again, doing all the machining right from the erection drawing, original erection
Right.
drawings.
Right.
She has been all over North America on the 7.5 inch gauge trackage.
Yeah.
A number of the clubs have enjoyed Ernie's demonstration of this engine.
Oh,
so,
God. Yeah. And he's got his own property where he has trackage or is working on trackage?
well, he runs his business off of his acreage. It's just west, a place called Benalto, just west of Red Deer, Alberta.
Okay.
And he's has his own machine shop and shop facilities where he's building these engines. He decided that he could probably build a live steam layout on his acreage, and I think he has some association with the local David Thompson Hospital in Red Deer, Alberta.
Okay. Yeah.
With the idea of eventually using this as a fundraiser for supporting of things like Children's Hospital.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
working there.
So, and he's a retired guy like the rest of us? Or?
Oh no, he's still actively employed.
Oh.
He's still very much involved in business, whether it's in the oil patch or or various machining assignments that he has around. He's done a number of car restorations, all-terrain vehicle modifications, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So
okay.
yeah, he's quite an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Very interesting. Going back to his trackage, you were saying 12,000 feet of track that he was
Eventually,
working on or planning on laying?
yeah, he has laid out on his property a very large railroad layout. I understand it will involve about 12,000 feet of operational trackage when he's finished.
Yeah.
He's about a third of the way through that right now.
Yeah.
But he has on his Facebook chat, he has given videos of each stage of its development and that.
Okay. So we can. He's got a Facebook connection that we can.
Yes.
Okay. So we look up Ernie on Facebook, and thanks for another aspect of model railroading, right?
Well, it's been great talking about this stuff. It's certainly a passion of mine, and if I can put in a few plugs for our local Alberta activities, and that, so much the better.
Yeah, good. Hopefully our audience has enjoyed this, and certainly happy modeling to all of these different aspects. So enjoy and Keep up the good work
Okay, so
modeling.
here we are at Ernie Bescowini's in Benalto. That's Ernie right there. And we're in Ernie's shop. He builds locomotives. This is the tender for 6060. And you can see a bit of detail of the controls in the back of the tender for his propane and for his brakes and ignition system. That's his wife's little steeple cab diesel that she rides on. This is the actual 6060. This is a 7.5 inch gauge, 1.5 inch scale model of the actual CN mountain locomotive. We have here a baggage car that acts as an auxiliary propane car. You can see the propane tank through the rear windows, and there's a riding seat for a guest. Now we'll move over to some of the assembly area. You can see all his machine tools and his parts. This is where some of the small fabrication takes place. This is another 6060 being built. And as we go down, you'll see some of the detailed machining that goes into the construction of these steam locomotives. We have some cylinder heads here and the exhaust blast pipes. Ernie spares no expense as far as accurate detailing of these steam locomotives. However, he's moved his interest of late to diesel locomotives, and here we have his latest production. This is a CP locomotive. It's a gas hydraulic. All the axles are driven. You can see some of the detail that he's put into this. The fans, the latches, hinges, just phenomenal. And of course we have access into the interior. Incredible. This is the prototype that he's modeling. And here we have some close-ups of the actual traction trucks and the detail that goes into the machining of these pieces. The group that you see here is a collection of model engineers, live steamers from Alberta that have converged on Ernie's shop for this gathering today. And finally, when he runs out of track, he can always go to his traction engine, which is Sawyer Massey in 1.5 inch scale. All working. Some of the detail on it as well. Just great stuff. Here's an example of some of the trucks that are manufactured for the tender on 6060 on the mountain, and you can see the amount of detail that he puts into the various components that go to make up the final assembly over there. Just incredible.
Well, Peter,
I certainly enjoyed that.
yeah, I wish I could do work like that.
Oh yeah. He's He's a master craftsman, that's for sure.
And matter of fact, you look at what you want to do with all the rail and that type of thing.
Yes.
And that did been kind of interesting to write.
Yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So, folks, after this short commercial will be the photo of the month.
Enjoy.
Ever wanted to take a nostalgic trip back to the steam era? Through the Window of a Train is the book for you. Or go back into history with the Memory of the Moonlight specials. Through the Window of a Train for $19.95, or Memory of the Moonlight specials for $21.95, or 4 limited time offers. You can get both books signed for only $39.95 plus shipping. Order now.
Well, another good series of photos.
Yep. I like them all.
Oh, yeah. always enjoyable, yeah.
Yeah, it's from one time to another's, you know. It doesn't matter if it's rail fanning or it's layout photos or whatever.
No,
it's always interesting to see.
Yes, some very nice submissions, yes.
Absolutely. And now we are at the stage that we got every month.
Mm-hmm.
The View from above.
Well, Joe, another good segment on View from Above.
Yep.
And we had some submissions on the layout from Don Ferguson.
Well, that's not quite the way it went. You know that I always watch what people post
Yes.
and that type of thing.
Yes.
And I came in one night and saw work, pictures from Don Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a series of other pictures
Mhm.
on his post.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he had 2 or 3 posts in
Yeah.
there. So I went through those pictures and I find out that the modeling that he was doing was worth featuring on our show.
Yes.
You know, because it's not the same era that we model at the CMR upstairs, but his era that he's modeling, the details that he bring in
Yeah.
and so on, is exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah. What we strive to do as well.
So I didn't send any message to Don Ferguson, unfortunately. But what I did, because he had a share on that, I put together a slideshow of his beautiful works, which we can comment on
Yeah.
as it goes through. And it's totally an honor to us to feature modelers that really had took the time, you know, to pay attention to the details that he had on his layout.
Yes.
You know, his scenes and so on. Very well composed scenes,
And
well weathered.
he captured it very well in the photographs.
Oh, absolutely. That I will say all those scenes have been made especially for photography,
Yeah.
you know, in some ways.
Yeah.
But he's running trains and he paid very great attention. So I hope you enjoyed that segment. You know, we'll present it to you right after a very short commercial.
Yes. And a big thank you to Don Ferguson.
Oh, absolutely. As the pictures are rolling right now, what we can notice is the way that Don Ferguson does his scenery in a general basis.
Yes. And he creates a very lifelike scene using his figures.
He make it look natural,
Yes. Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
Is not too much weathering,
No.
is just the right dose of people and actions, the right amount of vehicles,
Yes.
in my view.
Combination of weathering and the lighting effects.
Yeah, and if you notice, is the abundance of use of trees.
Yes. Oh, never can use enough trees. He's got some really nice scenes with trees surrounding buildings, emphasizing different scenes that he's got.
And also the fact that if you notice on some of his photo in there, you can see the electrical wires and so on. He bring the realities in his scene, where in one scene, if you notice, you got multiple little scenes happening. You know, the
Yes.
dog chasing the cats,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
the other one looking in the trunk of the car,
Right.
the people working, sawing logs, and
Mhm.
that type of thing. Each of the people placed in there in that layout seems to have a function.
Yes. Gives the scene some real life.
Right.
Yep.
And they are also weathered.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I think for a beginner who want to look at what a layout should look like, you know, to have some life into it.
Yep.
Don Ferguson is definitely the one who really showed that.
Yeah.
You know,
It'd be interesting to hear how many hours and days that he spent on it, because I know what we spend on doing our scenes.
well, more than likely a whole lot of hours,
Yeah.
because each of those scenes have been taught carefully.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and the people have been placed where they should be placed. So that had to be thought about, you know. I'm pretty sure he didn't achieve those scenes at the first run, and some of them
No, I don't think
he
so.
must had tweak it quite a few times. But I'm amazed by the craftsmanship
Yes.
of Don Ferguson.
Yes. Yes.
He tell you a story, and the scene tell you many stories.
Yes.
It's really open to the imagination.
Yes.
You know, the era that is modeling is definitely not the same era than ours,
No.
but it doesn't matter which era you are. If you look at what it is done with his scene, that's what should be done on a layout.
Yes. His attention to detail, his use of figures, like we said, shading, weathering, and the use of his trees. He's put together some phenomenal scenes.
The combination of elements.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Well, it certainly was a pleasure to critique the work of Don.
Yes.
Fabulous work, you know, first class, and hope that we can see some more of that.
Yes.
You know.
Well, very good segment.
Yeah. Now people have a good idea of what it is to detail a layout.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's never too much of it.
Beautiful work.
Yeah.
Beautiful work.
So now we are in September.
Yes, we're approaching the fall season. Winter's around the corner.
Yep. Club activities in many clubs are starting again.
Starting up again, yes.
And for us, well, is summer, winter, fall. We CMR keep building and building.
Yes.
So
And I'm sure, like myself, I haven't done anything really on my home layout. Once we get into the winter season, I'll be spending more time on my home layout. And I'm sure that people out there will be spending more time on their modeling endeavors as well.
The only reason you didn't do anything during the summer on your layout is because you were chasing a hole in the golf course.
Yeah, well, you know.
Of course, eh?
Yes, of course, eh?
So
Well, they say that's a good way to spoil a good walk in nature is to play golf.
well, you don't want me to go play golf because that's 70 shot on the first hole. So, update upstairs on the CMR is the electronics right now. All the leads and so on are getting pretty darn near all done.
We have all of the leads attached to rails, and everything is attached to the buses in the far side. We're just working on the main line 1 and 2 and the yard at Montreal. We have to reattach all the leads to the buses for that.
And there's a lot of tracks in there were separated because of not enough switch and so on.
Yes.
With the new realignment of the yards, which I show you in the December 2020 show, now all those had to be rewired.
Yes.
So,
and a lot of them are on-offs now, so that we can kill the power on a lot of the sidings in the yard.
yeah. Like we said, we'll probably be ready to do the final testing. I would say a month, maybe a month and a half, and then, well, it's ballast and it will be sceneries at the CMR, and we'll start to bring you some videos of when we started right up till the time it's finished. So meaning is a lot of video will be taken, but we won't bring them, oh, we just did that. We'll bring them as a short videos that can be integrated into the show, and also going into the how-to. This years had been very hard for everybody. And in here in Canada, on top of it, we got an election.
Yes.
So we didn't need that. But I like to remind our viewers that we totally appreciate your participations via comments and via posting on our Facebook group.
Submissions of photographs.
Yep. Short videos and that type of thing. We appreciate also a lot the participation of the people who are aboard, some like in Australia, or in our friend Manuel Mercado that is in Portugal, and we had some visitors from Mexico and all of that. United States is frequent viewing the video, and so is the Canadians. We encourage you also to visit our sponsor, miniprint.com, and see all the new stuff that he's got for week after week after weeks. And I encourage you to get some of those mini prints.
Yes, and like we said, with fall and winter coming, it's a good time to start looking at what you need for your layout. And if you need detailing, mini prints is a good place to get all sorts of characters and animals. And
now is getting on all sort of things, and it's all things that have not been on the market.
Yes.
The latest that I saw that they had was a crew change.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
How many times do we want to have a crew change? But that is the typical crew change, with the coolers and the backpack and all that. It's all there. You got 4 people in there, and you have it on N scale, HO scale, O scale, so whatever the type of train you run with Miniprint at miniprint.com, you will find some 3D print that would be making your layout come alive.
Yes.
So don't miss that. Otherwise, you can subscribe. We encourage you to subscribe and click the bell so you're being notified of any new show that we will be producing, and any how-to show also that we will be producing.
Yes, and don't forget to get on board with the Transcona Museum. They're fundraising for their shelter for their locomotive that's on display. They're still fundraising for that, so get on board with them. Make a donation.
And also, I like to add, talking museum-wise, that the Kenora Railroader Museum, their N scale and HO scale layout, which is for the viewer of the museum in there, is greatly improving. The guys are working hard to put it together because it had to be totally moved and totally redone. And right now, they're doing some fantastic work, and very quickly too. So the museum in Kenora will still be open for maybe a couple of weeks, maybe less, I don't know exactly. And I encourage you, if you go by there, to stop at the the museum. You cannot miss it, you know. Instead of going by the bypass, go through town, and right when you get into town is right there to your right.
Yep.
So you cannot miss that. So folks, I think we should tell them a happy modeling.
Happy modeling, yes.
Come and visit us again
Yes.
with episode 22 in October.
And keep on sending comments in. We do look at them.
Even if you mistake us for the Mackenzie brother, eh?
Yeah.
So a little humor in there goes
Yes.
a long way.
Yes.
So thank you guys. Happy modeling,
Happy modeling, eh?
and see you next time.